Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Cory. Cory is from Dallas in Texas in the USA. So let's see what Cory has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello. Yes, I can see you now. Hello Cory, how are you?
Doing well, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you so much for taking the time for the interview today.
Yeah, of course.
I love the plant behind you, beautiful.
Thanks. It's fake.
Oh no, it's it.
Yeah, I can't keep plants alive, so I just put fake ones around.
It's beautiful anyway. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cory, so before we start the game, tell me where you're from.
I'm from Dallas, Texas.
What's the best part of living in Dallas, in your opinion?
I think it's a big city. Like it's got the big city vibe, but at the same time, it's pretty slow paced. So it's like a nice mix of, the metropolitan life plus a little bit of, suburbia. So I don't know, it's a good balance.
I see. And Dallas is the place where you're born, you've been raised?
No, I was born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I've been in Dallas for about 7 years now.
And why Dallas?
Well, I got a job here, and I moved. I was living in New York City at the time. I had moved there after college and then was looking for work, and I found one in Dallas, so I moved down here.
Right. And what do you do for a living, Cory?
I am a marketing analyst for the American Airlines credit cards.
Oh, wow. So tell me a little bit about your job.
It's a lot of fun. It's basically, I work on the acquisition side of things. So I'm in charge of our digital space. So anything related to AA.com, where you see an ad that's, advertising 50,000 bonus miles or something like that. If you apply for the card, that's kind of my space. So I help with like strategy and defining like what the offer is going to be, and make sure that all the ads are approved. And I work with Citibank, who owns the credit card, pretty closely. So it's a pretty good job. I've been doing this now for about 3 years and really enjoy it.
Do you get to get some promotions on tickets, flight tickets or not?
Yeah, so the way it works with most every airline is we can fly standby for free. So it's, I rarely pay for flights anymore. It's just, it can suck because sometimes if there's not a seat on the plane, then you don't get on. So I've also spent like 5-6 hours in an airport before waiting until I can finally get on a plane. But it works out sometimes. And you get, if there's a seat in first class open and no one's taking it and you're the next on the list, then you get the first class seat, which is great. So it's got good and bad to it.
And you can travel around the world or just in the US?
It's pretty much anywhere in the world. International flights, you do have to pay for taxes and fees, but that's like $40 to get somewhere that would normally cost, several thousand sometimes.
Oh my God, you got the best job in the world.
Sometimes it feels like that, yeah.
Cory, before we start our journey, William the Magic Box, how would you like to tell me something interesting about yourself?
Okay. I guess something that most people don't know, I'm an Eagle Scout. So, and I guess for the Boy Scouts of America, I don't know, it at one point was a big deal to be an Eagle Scout, but it's just something that most people don't know about me. But, so I know how to do all my like knots and all that kind of stuff. And not that I'd give myself much of a chance to survive in the wilderness anymore, but at some point I was able to.
18, very good. Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Yeah.
Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend. Full of random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay, Cory from Dallas, Texas. Before we start the journey through the games, there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer. Always can change, okay?
Okay.
You there? Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Mhm.
First question for you is, what do you think is a good age to start dating and why?
Uh, um, I think a good age to start dating. I mean, in very inconsequentially around high school time frame. I don't think that obviously putting your, hopes and dreams into that person is always the best decision, but sure, to have fun and get to know like another person and all of that, I think that's a good age. It's like
There are no
16,
rules.
17.
Yeah, I think there are no rules. As long as you are safe, you feel kind of in a safe space, why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you got a bit of knowledge as well, like, trust and everything, why not? Saying that, what's the best first date that you have ever been on? Or one of the worst one, if you can share?
Worst one I've ever been on. I was living in New York. I had a really bad stomach ache and I did not want to go, but I decided to go anyways. And we get there and the other guy talked for basically the entire time about themselves and didn't ask a single question and what honestly was not, didn't really, he gave off a certain vibe on the apps that he used, like the dating app that we met on, and it was not that vibe when we met. And so anyways, it just kind of like threw me for a loop, didn't want to be there. And then leaving, it was pouring down rain and I had walked to the restaurant. So I had to walk back in the rain because I didn't have an umbrella. So it was pretty miserable. But best first date, I don't know. There's been a lot of good ones. I think in general, my favorite first type of date is, just something casual, like going to get coffee. So it's very non-committal because, I never want to be stuck in an entire dinner and meal with somebody if it doesn't, kick off right away. But coffee is nice and easy. And you can, decide from there if you want to have another one.
I think the worst first date you've been on, I think the guy was dating himself because he was talking literally about himself with himself all the time. He didn't give opportunity for you to talk.
Yeah.
Next question, let's do it. Before the next question, when I was checking a little bit your profile, there was a phrase there that got my attention. It says there, a mix of between Hillary and Monica. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it's actually the inspiration was from a song called Run Up by Major Lazer with Nicki Minaj. And she says something about she's a mix between Hillary and Monica. And I just love that because it's like, I don't know, I thought it was funny. And it's also like Hillary is the very, put together person. Not to say Monica Lewinsky isn't, but it's like, the reputations that each one has. One's a little more risque and the other one's a little more, political. So I just thought it was a funny mix. And I think it kind of defines me somewhat. There's, I've got the side that's very put together and then I got the side that likes to break the rules and, kind of be crazy.
Amazing. You clarify now. I was a bit confused. Like, let me ask him what he meant by that.
Yeah.
Next question for you is, are you a cat or a dog person? And if you could be an animal, which one you'd be and why?
I'm definitely a cat or dog person. Sorry. Definitely a dog person. I grew up with dogs. I don't have a dog now, just because I travel so much and it's not fair to the dog, but if I could be any animal, I would be an otter because I think they're really cute and they're fun. And when they sleep, they hold hands with their friends so that they don't drift apart. And I think that's the cutest thing ever.
Oh, very sweet.
Yeah.
Next question, let's do it. Okay, Cory, next question for you is, what has been the lowest point of your life?
I've been through some tough times. I've had some mental health issues in the past where, I just didn't really want to be here anymore. So I'd say back in those times where I really just didn't see a way out other than, the ultimate sacrifice, self-sacrifice. Thankfully didn't make any of those choices, didn't go through with any of those decisions and got help, sought therapy and other, sources of support and recovery. So, I'm in a much better place now, but it's pretty dark times, living with undiagnosed depression, things like that.
Are you okay to talk about it?
Yeah, that's fine.
When you look back through that dark moment in your life, what's the positive message you took out of their challenge time?
I think really for me, the most important thing is to never give up, because that's kind of the feeling around me during those times, is just give up, just stop, there's no point. And there's this saying, it's always darkest before the dawn, and I truly do believe that. If you just keep pushing through, it does get better. It's going to be a struggle at times, but and I definitely see that now. Like, it's not like every day is a great day, but they're worth it. And that's really what I got out of it, is that life is precious, and you never know what could take it from you, and to value it. So, and be grateful basically for what you have.
When you look back, when you look back through that memory, if you could take that period of your life, like, would you take it out knowing the person you are today, or you would keep it too because it built the person you are right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely days where I wish I could just get rid of it, and it would never have happened. But I do think it opened my mind a lot to, being grateful in life. And I've made a lot of connections through, the recovery process after that I wouldn't have. And I think I've developed a lot of tools for dealing with things that I wouldn't have back then. And it's made me who I am today. So it also, like, I know I can overcome anything now. And so I don't think I'd want to get rid of that lesson learned.
Amazing. Very good. Next question. Let's do it. Before the next one, as I could see how much you enjoyed your job, you have the opportunity of traveling around the world, but there's always a challenging part. What that would be in your opinion?
Well, with any job that has a lot of different partners that work together, it can be challenging sometimes to make all the ends meet. There's very strict timelines when we're talking about launches and updates to our offers and things like that we have to maintain and manage. So it's just a lot of time management, very detail oriented, which doesn't come natural to me. Like, I have to force myself to be detail oriented. So that can be a challenge. And it's a daily challenge too. It's something that has to be done constantly. So, I review all the terms and conditions, like the fine print. So I have to read through all of that, and I'm never one to read through that normally. So it's probably the toughest part.
See, all right. Next point. No, sorry. Next question. If you could ask for a miracle, what that would be?
That I'd win the lottery. That'd be the best.
Let's say you won the lottery now. What would be your biggest splurge at the moment if you won the biggest prize in the lottery?
My biggest splurge, I mean, I'd probably purchase a really nice home somewhere, or multiple homes, depending on where, how much it was. I'd love to have a house in different countries, a house on the beach, a house in the mountains. That would be what I'd splurge on, is real estate.
And saying that, do you see yourself living in Dallas for a long period?
Yeah, for the foreseeable future, Dallas is home. There's only a few things that would really take me away from here, and I think that would be if I pursued further education, like an MBA, then I'd open my search to other schools outside of the Dallas area. Or if a really great job opportunity in a different city came up that I couldn't pass up, then I would do that as well. But it would have to be a really good opportunity, just because I really do love what I do now.
And being gay in Dallas, do you feel safe? It's a welcome being gay person. Did you ever have any kind of situation, or the gay community as well is very supportive?
Yeah, the community here is very supportive. It feels small, and it really isn't small. I mean, this is a really big city, but the community itself is very supportive. It's big enough to where there's always people to meet, and it's small enough to where you can find good friends and stick with them. I live in the neighborhood that's considered like the gay neighborhood. I live down the street from all the gay bars and the spots. So it's nice, and there's a lot of nightlife, and there's a lot of things to do. So I've never had any issues in terms of living here with like prejudice or anything like that. But again, it is Texas, it is the South. So that's always in the back of my mind, which can be a concern. So, but I've never had any direct experience with anything like that.
That's why you are wearing red? I'm
Yeah,
joking.
exactly.
I'm joking. Let's say I would come to Dallas for this weekend, for tomorrow. Where would you take me for the first time? Where would you take, like, for a night out?
So I would take you, all of our bars are in one area. Well, all the gay bars at least are in one area. I think it's important to see other parts of the city other than just the gay area, but it's the most fun. I mean, people that aren't gay go there because it's fun. There's a lot of dancing there, which other places don't really have a lot of dancing. But the biggest place to go that everyone comes in from out of town is called the Roundup Saloon. It's a country western gay bar, and they do line dancing before midnight. Then at midnight, they start switching the music to pop and things like that, so everyone gets on the dance floor. And it's a really big bar, so pretty much everyone goes there. And it's kind of like an iconic spot in Dallas.
Amazing. I'll make a note of that, okay?
Definitely.
Next one, let's do it. Next question for you is, what made you laugh last time?
I'm watching the movie Fire Island on Hulu that just came out, and it's hilarious. It's who else in it? Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers and a few other people that I followed before on Twitter, and I just love their comedy. So it's hilarious. There's so many good one-liners and just situational comedy that's really funny.
Very good. Ready for another one?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Next question. We were talking before about being gay. Did you always have the support of your family being gay? And if you can walk me through the day when you came out, did something happen, or you just felt like, okay, that's my time, I'm gonna come out, I'm gonna live my authentic self? If you can share.
Yeah, so it was kind of a roundabout way that it all happened, but growing up, I definitely had ideas in my head that it was not okay to be gay, and that didn't necessarily come from my family of origin, didn't come from my parents intentionally or anything like that, but just growing up in the South, we were a religious family, you pick up on those kind of things. So it was hard, and I didn't come out until I was 22. And the way it all happened, I was already out to friends in college at that point. And this is embarrassing, but I shared an iCloud account with my parents. And when you purchase an app, the receipts go to the email address associated with the account. Well, I accidentally paid for Grindr, and the email went to my mom. And so I got a text the next day saying, "What's this about? Can we talk about this?" And I was like, oh my gosh. So I called her, and it was a great conversation. They're very supportive. They just wanted to make sure that, I was okay, and then everything was fine, that I was happy. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, all that. So that's how it kind of happened. But I was already planning to tell them before this. It just kind of kickstarted me into it, I guess.
By the way, did you realize before she saw the email, or it was afterwards when she called you?
Oh, I didn't even realize I'd done it. I think I'd been out the night before drinking, and instead of getting the free version, I got the paid version. And so I was in class the next day, and it was a class that I was not allowed to have my phone out in because the professor was very strict about that. So I'm getting these texts, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I had to sit there for like an hour and a half waiting until the class was over till I could text back. So it was honestly, looking back on it now, it's hilarious. But at the time I was like, oh my God, I was like sweating, couldn't pay attention.
I can imagine. And do you have siblings as well?
Yeah, I have one brother. He's 5 years younger than me.
All right. Next question for you is, I'm going to skip this one. Look, this question, I don't know if you can see. It's about won the lottery.
Well, there we go. Answer that one.
Next question is, when was the last time that you cried, and why?
When was the last time I cried? It was back in March, I think. Just one of those low days, wasn't feeling myself. It was a pretty bad day. So, just, it wasn't necessarily triggered by anything specific, but just kind of that overwhelming feeling of loneliness, depression. But crying is a good therapy, and it helps me. So I definitely don't shy away from that when I can. So yeah, I think that was probably it. Unless it was watching a movie. It might have been watching a movie recently. I don't know. I
think crying, it's a way of you you know, relax yourself somehow, put the emotions out, you know what I mean? I shouldn't be afraid or shy or to cry. I think it's a good thing. Sometimes cry is nice. Sometimes I feel like crying for nothing as well. And I go like, okay, let's do it. Why not? Let's put it out in emotions, isn't it?
Yeah, nice. It's a release of energy. So at the very least, it helps calm me down, you know?
Yeah. And you think I'm more straight as well. Like it clears your brain, your mind. You just feel more relaxed afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. You need to be brave to cry. I think you need to be brave to let yourself cry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Next question. Let's do it. All right. Next question for you is very easy question. What's your lucky number?
It is. I think it's. I'm trying to think. My favorite number is 14. So
why?
I'll say that. I don't really know. It's not a prime number, and it just stands out in my mind. 14 is I don't know, it's just a good number. I like 4 as well. I think 4 is my little brother's favorite number. So, you know, obviously I got to be a little bit bigger than my little brother's number. So just add 10 to it. But yeah, I like that number for some reason.
Amazing. Well, let's check your profile as well. I could see some pictures, some professional pictures taken. Do you do modeling sometimes as well?
Not professionally. There's a really great photographer here in Dallas who works with a lot of different people. I mean, technically models, yes, because we were doing it there for him. But I just really liked his stuff and reached out to him one day last year and asked if he'd be willing to work together, and he was. So I've had a few shoots with him since. I actually had one this past weekend. So I'm looking forward to seeing those pictures. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And I feel good about myself afterwards. He does a really good job with editing. So I just really like the way they look.
Amazing, very good. Next one. Next question for you is, who is a celebrity you admire and why?
Let me think. Think of a celebrity that stands up for things. Well, I mean, Nicole Kidman, I just love her. And right now she's the face of like AMC, which is hilarious. Not in a bad way, just, you know, she's iconic. So I really like Nicole Kidman. I think she has really great roles, and she always seems to play like a white woman that's slightly off a little bit, you know? And so I love that role for her. I saw her in The Northman most recently with Alexander Skarsgård, and it was a really great movie. So yeah, I like her. And then yeah, I think that'd probably be somebody I look up to.
I'll tell you something. I love her as well. And do you know what? All the time when I see her playing a movie, I see a different person. I don't know why. Is the only actress when I watch her playing, she literally makes me think that it's a real person. I cannot see that's Nicole Kidman playing. I just realized afterwards or before, but she really make it up like such a natural way that makes you think. I don't know if you saw Cold Mountain with Jude Law. It's been for a while now. Cold Mountain, and she played this lady like it's just amazing. That's when I started to look it up to her like a lot through that movie, because I was so impressed with her, you know, with her. I knew who she was before, but watching that movie, he just convinced me too that she can do anything.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look it up.
Cool. Next question. Before the next one, you say that you lived in New York City.
Yeah.
Tell me, what was your experience living in New York City? How long were you there for?
I was only there for a year. You know, it was a great experience. I learned a lot. It's a very hard city to live in, I think, for some people. I think it's hard for me to live there. It's expensive, you know, it's not very convenient. But I met some of my favorite people, my best friends that I still keep in touch with today that live up there. I went to law school, and that's why I was there. But I found that law school really wasn't my cup of tea. So after after about a year. And that coupled with some other, mental health things, I just, it wasn't the best place for me to live anymore. So that's when I started looking for work elsewhere, and moved down to Texas, which is closer to home, closer to family, and a little bit, like I said, slower paced. So a little bit more my speed.
I see. All right. Next question is, what does money mean to you?
Money, I guess, is security for me. It can be fun too. It's also stressful. But when I think about what like money ultimately does for me, is it provides me the security to know that I'm going to be okay. I can afford to eat the next day. I can afford to live. And right now, with prices going up, with gas prices and inflation and rent skyrocketing everywhere, it just becomes that more important, to make sure that you're managing it well. And also, I think it's a way to give back. I don't necessarily have the most time on my hands, but if I can donate to a cause, or if I can support somebody that I know or that's trying to, do good in the world, then I feel like I've taken part in it, and money allows me the ability to do that. So yeah.
Do you believe that money can bring happiness?
I don't think it can bring happiness. I definitely think it can bring, it can ease your worries. Like you can be the richest person in the world and still be miserable. And material things don't bring happiness, but it's a lot easier to focus on the sentimental things in life when all of your needs are met. And so conversely, while it doesn't bring happiness, while it doesn't make happiness, I do think that, poverty is a policy choice, and people that live in poverty, they're fighting a battle that a lot of people, we can't really understand. And when I lived in New York, I was living on student loans. So I was below that poverty line. So I know what it feels like to have to wonder what you're going to eat the next day. Thankfully, I've got a family that can, if I really need to, can give me a little bit of money for dinner. But, it's something that I don't know. I just think that if more people had a base income, or more people had their needs met, I think society would be a lot better off.
I was watching an interview a long time ago. There was a question about money to this entertainer, and he said, "I prefer to go back home crying in a limousine than go back home crying on the bus."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd rather cry in my mansion than cry on the street. So,
next question. Let's do it, Cory. Next question for you is, what makes you feel discouraged?
I guess comparison to other people can make me feel discouraged sometimes. That's really what steals joy most for me, is when I compare myself to other people, whether that be how they look, or whether that be what they're doing with their life, whether the career-wise, if I stop and look at them more than I'm looking at myself and focusing on what I'm grateful for, I get really discouraged and kind of start to think I'm never going to be there. So why even try? So that's a negative thought process that I really try to stay away from, but it's easy to slip into. So, yeah.
And which kind of mechanism do you find to get yourself out of when you put yourself in these, mindsets? There's something that you go okay, I cannot think about that, I cannot do that, I'm gonna do some meditation or something that you try to get out this, mood.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I'll do to try to, make myself, I guess, snap out of it. One, if I'm feeling down about where I am in life, I try to focus on the positives. I try to focus on gratitude for what I do have. And that really does help a lot of times, but sometimes it's hard to be grateful, even when you do have a lot of stuff to be grateful for. So at that point, I try to busy myself. I try to focus on the things I can change. And if I focus on the things I can change and stop worrying about the things I can't, then I tend to be a lot happier.
Yeah, I think nowadays with the social media, the platforms, the world we live right now, the modernity. Yes, I said right. It's it's impossible. It's kind of impossible for you not to get yourself sometimes, because there's so much exposure there, of perfection, that there is no perfection anyway. But that's what they sell. They sell perfection. They sell, and sometimes we need to be very, our mind needs to be very strong not to get ourselves in that situation, because it's out there. It's impossible for us to avoid sometimes. You know what I mean? We catch ourselves sometimes unconscious, like thinking about that and comparing.
Sometimes I have to just completely get rid of social media for a little bit. I actually was on a social media hiatus for like a month and a half, 2 months, in March to April to the beginning of May. And it was really good. It was really beneficial because you just stop caring what's around you. And and also like you have to understand too, that like what you're looking at on social media isn't true. It's the best moments of people's lives. So, never know what's going on behind the curtain.
Absolutely. And saying that, I'm glad that you didn't get off of your social media for the last few days, because I wouldn't be able to meet you now.
I know, right? I'm glad I got back on.
3 questions left for you, Cory. Let's do it. As you said that you enjoy a lot living in Dallas, but what's the most challenging part?
Well, in the summer, it is really, really hot here. And a couple summers ago, my AC in my car went out, and that's really hard to live with. So, I mean, the temperature wise, it's hard to live here. And then also on top of that, Texas's electricity grid is not the best. So we had a snowstorm about 2 winters ago, and it really did a lot of damage to people in the state. So I think that like we're really prone to a lot of that, a lot of, environmental dangers. But also, it's not a cheap city to live in either. I mean, compared to New York, San Francisco, Miami, yes, it's cheaper, but on a ratio of, what the average income is versus the average pricing of a house, it's going up. It's becoming a more expensive city. So I think it can be really tough to make sure you're staying ahead in that aspect too.
I had a few guests on the show from Dallas, and they mentioned that actually. They mentioned that it's not one of the most expensive cities in the US, but it's kind of rising. It's getting somehow very popular and getting expensive.
Yeah, there's a lot of people moving here from California because it was cheap, but they come here with their California salaries and selling their California homes, and they start buying up property here, and the prices just go crazy. Plus, there's more people, so there's more demand. Yeah.
Right. Next question is, what was your worst wardrobe mistake?
Ooh, wardrobe mistake. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Even high school, those time period of our high school that we had those clothes that were like, oh my God, where was I with my head wearing those clothes?
Yeah, I know I've probably, anytime, I only have a few pairs or items of clothing that are pure white, because I will get something on them. And I had a pair of white gym shorts that I was wearing not too long ago, actually. And I sat right in a chair that somebody had just spilled coffee in. So you can imagine how awful that was. And I wasn't anywhere where I could change. So I was like, well, I'm gonna have to deal with this for a little while. So that was awful. But I kind of try to avoid wearing white pants or white shorts if I can help it, because I just know something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's always like that. Actually, saying that, I was thinking about that, and I don't have any white pants or shorts because I know that it's really difficult to keep, clean, and it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. 2 questions left for you. Let's do it. But before the next question, for those 2 years that the world went upside down regarding the COVID crisis, for you, what's the positive impact that brought to your personal life? And saying that's the negative one, if you can share.
So positive impact, I actually with work was able to advance a little bit faster than I would have normally been, just because we did have some people leave due to the state of things with airlines and stuff like that. So I was able to move into a role a little bit elevated than where I started, which was sooner than I would have done anyways. But that, and then also like the work from home shift has been great. I really enjoy working from home. We do split our time in the office, but proving that we can be productive at home was great. And it helped my schedule a little bit. I also got really into running because we couldn't go to gyms. So I started running at the beginning of the pandemic, and I on and off for a little while, but I actually ran my first half marathon last October and got third for my age group. So,
Oh my
new
God.
hobby came out of it. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was good. And then I guess negative side was it was fairly isolating. Not being able to see friends, not being able to see family. I had a roommate at the time, so that was helpful that we were able to be around each other. But, isolation is a tough place to be for a lot of people, me as well. So that was probably the hardest part.
You say about running, I love running, but I never liked running outdoors for some reason. I love doing exercise, but in the gym, I never liked outdoors. Saying that, through the lockdown, I had no choice. So I started running outdoors, and I started enjoying it, actually. I started enjoying a lot. Not to run a marathon like you did, not that. But I was doing that, and I was like, oh my God, that's nice, fresh air. And actually, through that run, one of those runs at the first lockdown, where this project came along.
Oh, awesome.
You see?
That. Yeah.
And the other day I was going to the gym, I was in the bus going to the gym, I'll pass by the place where this idea came along. And the sun was rising, and I was like, oh my God, I'll always be grateful for this time, this place where I was when this idea came along. There we go.
Great. I love that.
Next question is, what season of the year you feel more connected with, and why?
Fall is my favorite.
Why?
That's what you're asking, correct? Like seasonality, fall would be my favorite. I love summer, don't get me wrong. I do like warm weather, and I like going to the pool and like going to the beach, but fall is just so perfect. The weather's cooler, you get to wear jackets and clothes and, nice warm clothes, and you get to go do pumpkin patches and all of that. And then the food's good, and you kind of don't have to worry about wearing a swimsuit anymore. So I really, really love fall. And then the movies and everything like that. Halloween, just a great time of year.
Is your birthday around the same time as well?
No, my birthday's actually in the spring. It's in March. So I do like the spring as well because it's warming back up. Honestly, anything but winter. I hate the winter. I love snow, but like in Texas, we don't get snow. It just gets cold. So it's like cold with no benefit. So yeah, I'm just not a big fan of winter.
No, I'm asking that about your birthday because the fall is my favorite as well. Autumn is my favorite. And somebody told me once that you feel very connected with the season you were born. And for me, it works perfectly because I love the colors. It's not too cold, not too warm. It's kind of crispy, nice, Yeah, it's my favorite as well, for sure. Ready for the last one?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Last question. But before the last question, as you mentioned that you can travel a lot through your job, yeah? Can you share like a fun experience or story that happened to you when you were waiting in the airport or something went wrong? Or as you said, sometimes you wait 6 hours and sometimes you got first class. There is like a funny story or a moment that you could share?
Well, it's always like a game of like, is it going to happen? Am I going to get on the flight? I think so. One story, I was flying to New Jersey to spend a weekend on the Jersey Shore with some friends. And I kept on getting pushed to the later and later and later flight from Dallas. And it got to the point that, and my friends were already on the shore. They were about an hour and a half away from Newark Airport. So they weren't close by any means. And I ended up not getting in until like 1:30, 1:45 in the morning. And by that point, they were like, well, we can't come pick you up. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Oh my gosh. And I remembered that one of my friends who he lives in Dallas, but he was splitting time between New Jersey and here. One of my friends was there at that point in time. And we had been roommates in the past. And we're really good friends. So I texted him like, hey, are you in New Jersey? He's like, yeah, I am. Why? I'm like, can I please stay with you just for tonight? I don't have anywhere to stay. And I'm getting in at like 1:30 in the morning. And he's like, yeah. He ended up living literally 5 minutes away from the airport. So it worked perfectly. I got to stay there and it was like, oh, thank God. And then on the way back, same kind of thing happened. My flight out that afternoon was completely full. So I was like, hey, I need to stay with you one more night. I'll get up in the morning and I'll go. And so I went the next morning at like 5 a.m. and I was stuck in that airport for 5 hours waiting for flights. But, I made it. I got back home, which is all that really matters.
What's his name?
Edgar.
Say again?
Edgar.
Edgar. You're a good guy.
Yeah, no, he's great. He's a great friend.
Last question for you is, what is your most embarrassing moment?
Ooh, embarrassing moment. I don't know. I feel like it was from middle school. It's kind of sad, actually. It's probably from middle school. It's kind of sad. But I didn't even know I was gay until I was in high school. But in like middle school, I had come out to lunch or I'd come to like the recess, the playground area after lunch, and somebody had started a rumor that I was gay. And I just remember being so upset by that. And like, it was really embarrassing. So it's like, I didn't even know what that was at this point. Right. I mean, turns out they were right. So I can't really blame them for saying it anymore. But at the time I was like, oh my God. And it was sad. It was a tough day, but that was embarrassing for sure. I haven't had too many like just oops, embarrassing moments. I've definitely sent text messages to the wrong people before. I've taken a screenshot of a conversation with somebody to send to somebody else.
Oh my God.
To that person. So that's been bad before. But yeah, I think the most embarrassing was that one, the middle school moment. And that's why middle school was like a blacked out period in my mind.
Actually, saying that, I think all of us, we had those moments where we were embarrassed because we were bullied, or people, they were kind of point because we were gay. You know what I mean? There's always those moments. But actually, the time when you sign up for Grindr and your mom received the thing is very no way.
Like it. It's pretty embarrassing too. It was just an awkward situation.
Oh my dear. Right, not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay? So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. Let's start with family.
Fun.
Money.
Safety.
How about love?
Real.
Life.
Love.
Sex.
Fun.
Politics.
Boring.
Religion.
Twisted.
Fear.
Worthless.
Friendship.
Valuable.
Desire.
Difficult.
Regret.
Pointless.
Success.
Lucky.
Wish.
Hopeful.
Happiness.
Goal.
One word for Dallas.
Hot.
The last one now, USA. One word.
Messy.
Right. My God, you're so easy. We did so fast. My goodness, the word association game. Wow. Let's pretend I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friend, tell me the most beautiful thing about Cory, and tell me something that he still needs to work on, to improve on. What your best friend would say?
I think my best friend would say that I'm a kind person and I care about other people, and I'm very friendly, and I'll be there for you when you need it. But I think she would also say I need to work on, at the same time, work on thinking of others more often, and work on not comparing myself to others, being truly myself.
See. Good. Do you see some work in progress?
Yeah, work in progress.
always. Let's play now, Cory and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But before you ask me the question, I'm going to ask you a favor. Can I see your eyes, not your glasses?
Yeah.
Wow, come closer. Beautiful, my God, beautiful eyes. Wow, do you get stopped a lot of times because of your eyes?
People do comment on them. I always say, thank you, they're a present for my parents for my birthday.
Beautiful eyes, beautiful. Okay, you can ask me a question now.
Okay, what legacy do you want to leave behind in the world?
Oh my God, beautiful question. Cory, it's something that I embrace a lot here on the show, and I think it's something that even before I started doing the show, I always had this way of thinking. Be yourself. Try to be yourself most of the time. I know sometimes not easy. I know sometimes, because society, religion, family, a lot of things we cannot be ourselves. But if you try to just be yourself the most of the time, or even be yourself, even though you feel safe of being yourself all the time, trust me, it's gonna be a life change. First, because the right people will come along, the wrong people will go away. You're gonna feel more relaxed about yourself, about people around you, about your life overall. And I think that it's the only tool we have that nobody would have as well. It's a unique way of being yourself, even though sometimes it's not easy, and sometimes there's a lot of insecurities as well, because sometimes the word out there can be very strong, the voice saying that you cannot be, it's wrong, or it doesn't look nice, you don't fit here, you don't fit there. But when you try to put this out of your way of away from your thoughts or from your life, trust me, it's good to be yourself. Some people they're gonna dislike, some people they're gonna love it, and that's what makes it exciting as well in a way, but what I always, even myself, sometimes I find situations that it's not easy all the time to be yourself, for thousands of reasons. But it's something that I always try to be, and I always try to embrace as well, and tell people, be yourself. Sometimes, even though, I remember when I was younger, I remember sometimes going out with friends, and I remember there was friends, they were trying to, put themselves in a way that are not themselves. And I was telling them, I cannot see you there because you are being somebody else. And for sure, if you go out there, they're not gonna see you either, because you're not yourself. And the right people, it's gonna pass by. They're not gonna see the real you, the authentic you. So yeah, that's something that I try always to embrace and speak and share as well. Be yourself. It's beautiful. I think it's beautiful when you're yourself. And even though people, they don't know you, they can see it, they can feel it, and that's how you're gonna attract the right people to you, because they're gonna feel safe, they're gonna feel secure, they're gonna feel like happy around you. So let's be yourself. That's something that I always say.
I like that. I can't remember who said it, but the quote is, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken."
Yes, I saw that once. It's so true, and it's so true, isn't it? And sometimes as well, it's a big challenge as well, be yourselves, because sometimes, if you're lonely, sometimes you go like, my God, but again, it's part of, even if you're not yourself, it's going to be more difficult, because you're going to be always, you're going to be anxious because you are pretending to be somebody else. You're not going to be relaxed. So let's try to be ourselves most of the time. That's beautiful things will come for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Cory, did you have a good time?
I did. This was great.
Thanks so much for being kind and sweet, and take the time as well, and to bring your beautiful blue eyes to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is really fun.
Before you go, if you can share a positive message or a positive quote, something that's inspiring in life.
Quote or message. I guess I'd just say that if no one's told you today, I love you. And there's always someone thinking of you in the world.
That's beautiful. Oh, wow. Beautiful, beautiful. Cory, it was a pleasure, and keep in touch. We're connected now. So now we are connected forever. Okay?
Awesome. Yeah.
Take care. Okay? Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, First, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website www.williamandthemagicbox.com and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.